So, my fabulous guests. We have Rosie Hill, who is head of e-commerce at GAIL's Bakery. As you all know, GAIL's has a fantastic reputation for connection and quality, which has thrived through 23 onwards when they introduced a digital loyalty scheme, migrating from a physical stamp card. And we also have Gemma Barter, Senior Digital Marketing Manager at Honest Burgers. Honest has a cult following and has very recently launched a brand new loyalty program called Honest Insiders, and Gemma has been the power behind that initiative. Welcome both, and thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
Hello.
I'm very conscious of time, and I think we're going to have loads of questions from the audience, so I'm going to dive straight in. I would like to start by picking your brains firstly about why loyalty and why the timing that you both chose and your businesses chose. So if I could ask Rosie first. As I said, you migrated from a physical stamp card to a digital scheme. What made GAIL's tip into that decision? You know, the physical card was well loved. Why in 2023 did it become mission critical to move?
It's a really important question, I think, because for us, that decision was incredibly contentious. You know, as you've already alluded to, we had a program that was well loved, well used, and frankly, a business that really prized connection with our customers. And I think there was a real fear that by putting technology in the middle of that relationship, we would lose some of the things that really make our business special. So there were a lot of kind of push and pull factors. If there is one thing you know about GAIL's, aside from, you know, incredible buns and coffee, I think it's that we're a very growth-minded business. You'll see them popping up around you. If you haven't already, come and see us afterwards. We'll find a way to make it happen. And I think we kind of got to the space where every day where we didn't have this ability to grow our understanding of our customers felt like a missed opportunity. And there's only so many times you can see those days fly by before you think, oh, we've really got to do something about this. And so we had a lot of rigor going into the program around why were we going to do it, what was going to be special about it, how does it help our customers, how does it align with our values, what does it say about us, all those really fundamental questions that meant that when we did go live with loyalty, we knew exactly what its purpose was, we knew how it was going to help our business, and how it was going to help serve that mission of, you know, building close connection, building community, and helping us make some money.
Amazing. Very insightful. Thank you so much. Gemma, Honest Insiders is hot off the presses, really only just launched. Could you talk to us a little bit about how that decision was made? How did loyalty become seen as mission critical at Honest?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to say we decided last year and it happened this year. However, it has been a very long time in the making. I've been at Honest for about 3 years and probably started properly looking into it about 2 years ago. For us, and we were having the discussion before, what's really important to us as well as driving revenue is having the data on our customers. So similar to GAIL's, where you can't identify that customer, you don't know what they're buying. A lot of our customers are walk-ins, so we don't have that unique identifier, understanding the purchase behaviour, their frequency, what they're buying, how much they're spending. And so just as much as getting loyal customers and targeting personalised communications to different audiences, it was about getting the data on our customers. And we saw loyalty as that piece of the piece of the puzzle that was missing. So we needed to make sure we had a great tech stack. So Tommy, I was over there, helped do the rollout of the POS changeover to Vita Mojo, which was the majority of our last year. So about October time, that was done. Then we needed to start thinking about loyalty and how that was going to come about with a partnership with Vita. We moved over to TalkBox, that's our new CRM platform at the beginning of the year, which has got great integrations with you guys. So once we got that foundation of the tech stack with Vita Mojo and TalkBox, we were really able to start exploring what that loyalty scheme looked like. So it wasn't a split decision, it was something we knew we needed a while. We needed to get the foundations in place. And, you know, we're going to start being able to segment our comms, our offers around people's behaviour, which we never would have done before without loyalty.
Amazing, thank you so much. And I'm glad you both mentioned unlocking customer data and understanding your guests significantly better. Almost looks like we planned these questions. Because my next one is about data and measuring success and the things that are important to your brands. So perhaps if I could ask Gemma to start this time. I know it's very early days, but you're initial adoption looks incredible. I'm really interested to know if there's any data points or trends or behaviours that you're already noticing that you think might shape the future of the programme.
Yeah, definitely. So we're 1 month today. We have managed to see 25,000 downloads, 11,000 using our sign-up reward. We've got a 14% transaction rate against loyalty, with loyalty out of all of our transactions, which is amazing. Our target was 5, and we're at 14. Our target for downloads was 70,000. We're at 25, so over a third already in month 1, which is amazing. It's still early days, as you said. So, starting, what's going to be key for us is looking at the data between loyalty members and loyalty members, which we're already, just after 30 days, seeing that those loyalty members have a slight higher frequency rate, even after a month. So that's really promising. But just being able to start personalising our comms. We were sending blanket emails through our CRM, starting to pull the data based on what people are buying, what they're spending, how often they're visiting, are going to be key metrics in order to really personalise those comms, sending specific offers to specific customers, which is really exciting.
Amazing. I'm going to sneak in a cheeky extra one for you here, Gemma. I'm interested to know how many free onion rings have already been given away, and if anyone has made it to a free burger in the first month.
Not the free burger. That's us. So that's our 4th reward. The free onion rings are sitting at 10.1 as of this morning. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And Rosie, at a very different point in the journey for GAIL's, 2 years of solid data under the belt. What insights have most surprised you and influenced how GAIL's have developed the offering over those years?
Oh, that's a hell of a question. I was thinking about this in advance and trying to think about any given data point can take you in any direction you want it to, and the most dangerous one of those is taking it exactly where you think it's going to, sort of horrifying. I think for GAIL's, the scale we're at now, you're talking about 1 million data points a week, upwards of. So there's an awful lot that we're kind of seeing come through to us, and our ability to take that data, turn it into insight, and turn that into action, I think is the thing we've really been focusing on this year. And for me, I think the point at which you start generating sustainable business change is when you have the triumvirate of data, strategy, and culture. And when I think about what Lauren, our head of digital marketing, has done in terms of our segmentation strategy to really help us dive into what are the customer missions, why are people coming to us, why are they behaving the way they are, that has shown us so much more about the people who really love our brand and helped us to kind of lean more into that side of things. But again, the thing that really makes the difference is that combined with culture, because if you are in a business that doesn't have a test and learn culture, you have that insight, but you don't do anything differently. You just go, well, that's interesting, isn't that nice? So I think we're at the stage now where we're starting to see those three things really kind of commingle, and that for me is the most exciting space to be in. So I'm hoping it's going to be a really exciting year for us.
Amazing, thank you so much. And now I've got a really meaty one now. So everyone knows it's very easy for Vita Mojo employees to sit here and talk about points, perks, the tech platform that powers the loyalty, but making it come to life in real life for your teams and your guests is a completely different matter. So I hoped we could dive into how you've prepared your teams, how you communicate about those loyalty programs to them. So starting with Rosie this time, any advice on rolling out loyalty across a large estate and migrating from a well-loved previous scheme?
I would say do not skimp on training and engagement. It is, you have thousands of people out there every day who are representing their brand, who are representing your brand, and it could not be more important that they are ambassadors for why we're doing this, because I think in this day and age, there's a lot of sort of healthy cynicism around it, just being a data grab, and I think if you aren't talking to your teams about why this is so important and how we're going to use that to actually make life better for teams and for bakeries, then they kind of don't see the point in discussing it. So we put a lot of time and effort into, we do a quarterly event called BreadX, where we bring together all of our bakery managers and assistant bakery managers and support teams, and we talk about why are we doing what we're doing. And we did this huge digital deep dive of the whole roadmap stuff, and it was really exciting. But apart from that, lots and lots of in-bakery sessions. We'd be out and about talking to teams every time we went in. So kind of really mobilising the support team to go out and have those conversations every week. That, I think, is the thing that really made the difference.
Amazing. I've been doing some championing around Palmer's Green. Everyone at Vita Mojo also knows I live in Palmer's Green, and GAIL's just opened a branch, and we're very excited. And I've been running around Palmer's Green saying, download that app. Gemma, same question for you, really. Just launched. How did you guys approach making sure your teams were enabled to talk confidently and proudly about the programme you're offering your guests?
Yeah, I mean, similarly, you don't want them to just think it's a data grabbing scenario. Oh, this is something else we need to talk about. Oh, there's a chicken change, and now I've got to also mention Honest Insiders, which there was definitely moans and groans about that, don't get me wrong. But when I had as much information as possible to share, I made sure I went to all of the individual area meetings, spoke to all of the GMs. As sort of we've got 39 sites, so 5 and 6 GMs in each group or so. I then got an appointed loyalty champion in each area, so that gave me the opportunity to have a direct line to each area. I've made sure that they're speaking with the rest of their GMs, collating all of the feedback, and then giving that back to me, having meetings with them sort of on a regular basis, or at least checking in. Some are maybe more engaged than others, so what I've been doing the last couple of weeks is actually going into store, doing the visits. I went to see, the performance is mad. So I say we've got 14% across the estate, but we've got one site doing 27%, which is crazy. So I sat her down this morning and I said, I really want you to take me through what you're doing. I would like to understand, we've got a friendly competition. So the winners, after 2 months of launch, are getting the marketing team taking over their restaurant, and they get a night out for free. Well, paid on sort of the support budget. So the marketing team taking over the restaurant, they were very excited about, and now they are even gunning to win that overall stake. So, and then I'm able to share sort of on our internal platforms, this is what Mid Street are doing, this is how they're engaging with their customers. The GM basically said, ask every single table. If you're not speaking to every single table and you're not consistent with that, then you're going to just start falling back. So lots of communication and incentives, free nights out. I think is definitely going to be the way forward. And make sure we don't forget about it. We also have quarterly updates, and we want to make sure that that's coming up, and it's not just the launch and then it goes into the distance.
Brilliant. Could I ask a follow-up to both of you? Also about what your collateral in-store looks like. I obviously see the digital assets and so on. More rarely do I see it in real life. So you mentioned getting the staff to mention it at every table. Could I ask a bit more detail about what does that collateral in-store look like that drives customers to it organically as well?
Okay. So we've got sort of table cards on every single table, which in busy shifts they can easily just point to it. It's got a QR code direct for the download, and that hook is the free onion rings, and it's got it on there. They've also got bill cards, so if the teams are too busy, Vita have the QR code on the receipt, so we can say, here's the bill card, collect your stamps on your receipt afterwards. They're also putting it on all of the click and collect orders, and I heard this morning actually the Uber orders as well, which we can't yet collect points for, but go for it, get those delivery customers coming in as well. And then we've got posters in Smash and Grab, which is our QSR site. In Liverpool Street, we've got screens and videos and things like that, so as much visibility as possible.
We have a slightly different operating model, so a lot of the kind of classic ways that you would approach this isn't really an option for us. So we've done a lot in terms of signage at checkout, at tills in bakeries, and then tiny little cardboard wraparounds on the scanners so you kind of see what's what. But honestly, it's the conversation is the thing that drives it. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you. That's the end of my part of this interrogation. Thank you so much for those amazing insights. I think it's clear you're both incredible experts in your field and making a real success of loyalty for your brand. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
So, it's not the end of the whole interrogation though, so I'm just going to grab the iPad and go questions from the audience? Going to go straight in with a really meaty one. Learnings in the launches, what mistakes were made? What learnings did you take? What challenges did you have with those launches?
We had many, many learnings. I think, never a dull day, girls. I think a key learning for us, great time for you to know this one, is around the need for kind of consistent re-engagement. So we launched it, there was big fanfare, everyone was very excited. And it wasn't until we hit the year anniversary that we thought, well, actually, all of our collateral doesn't make sense anymore. You know, this brand new app, it's not new anymore. And I think we kind of trusted in the idea that people would share the good news around their bakery teams. But as with any hospitality business, you know, you're contending with labour turnover. And if you're not out there kind of shilling for this week in, week out, and really kind of getting that buy-in from your teams, then it is really easy for it to kind of fall through the wayside. So one of the ways that we kind of got around that was building in staff discount into the app. And that kind of just encouraged everyone to kind of re-engage with it. So that made a big difference early on, I think, in terms of the engagement with the teams.
Yeah, I think it's probably the communications on the internal platforms. We switched over to a new internal platform at the same time, so everyone was getting used to understanding that. And it was a real balance from me of how much do I bombard everyone in every group without annoying them. And I think maybe looking back, we would have taken a little bit longer to sort of separate those launches out. We made sure that the change over to the internal platform was in a separate month, but we could have done with probably an extra few weeks, getting the staff and team members getting used to that before then launching another system and trying to comms it out on a new internal comms platform.
I've actually got a second one that it might be somewhat controversial, but I think is worth saying, which is make your peace with the fact that fraud happens. If you build a 12-foot wall, someone will build a 13-foot ladder. That is just the way of the world. So understand that security is going to be an ever-evolving part of your proposition you're just going to have to address. We specifically designed a program that was incredibly generous because we wanted what that said about our business. And that meant making our peace with a certain amount of people that just came for vouchers and found some loopholes and found a new loophole and then a third one and then a fourth one. So it does keep us on our toes, but I think understand what's the risk and what's your level of comfort with it, and that will change over time, and that's okay.
That's such an amazing answer, and continuing your psychic abilities to anticipate the next question. That actually leads really nicely into another very chunky question on here around how do your businesses think about the profitability of these schemes? You both have a sign-up freebie that's quite significant. Accounting for that spend and impact to profitability can be really tricky. So I'm interested to know how GAILs and Honest think about that.
It depends who you ask. If Andy, our CFO, were he might give a slightly different take on it. I think we see it as an investment, and I think that having had the previous version of loyalty, we opened ourselves up to all of the same risk, and in fact more risk, because we had no idea who was doing what. People were definitely buying photocopied stamp cards on eBay. So I think we at least now know what we're getting in return for it. So it feels like very managed risk from our perspective. And you know, when you think about the cost of acquisition versus the cost of retaining customers, investing in loyalty is a fantastic way to actually do both of those things. So you're introducing new people to your brand, and you're using it as a vehicle to build brand love, build meaningful connections. You know, you're able to then pivot people across channels, and we all know multi-channel customers spend more money, visit more frequently. We love those guys. So I think it's definitely worth every penny for us.
Yeah, so I sat down with my head of finance, and we mapped out the different rewards of at what point in the journey, and we worked out the percentage discount that would be across all 7 visits, which allowed us to get to a place that we were comfortable with, and we tweaked it, sort of moving stamp rewards around or changing to different products, and I think we sit at around 13% discount across 7 visits, which for things like card-linked offers or various other offers is probably fairly similar. We definitely manage expectations. So from the start, it was always This is probably just going to wash its face in the first year. This isn't going to drastically change consumer behaviour, but this is about, it's a more of a long game. So managing the expectations with the senior team, which I think they understand, was a key part of this. And you know, the more and more data we get, the further we go along, we're going to be able to start looking at lifetime customer value and how valuable those customers are versus non-loyalty members. And we spoke about, hello? Yeah. We spoke about this morning about, you know, getting everyone to chill out was your advice on the data and what's it doing? Tell me what's happening. I think we've managed to really get expectations on what it's going to do and what revenue it's going to return. Be patient.
And then you've come here and I've been like, first month of data, what's going on, Gemma? There's just so many questions, so just bear with me while I choose the next best. Oh, this is a really interesting one. To both. Outside your own brands, are there any brand loyalty schemes you love? And if so, why? Doesn't need to be hospitality.
This feels like a job interview question.
What kind of biscuit would you be?
One thing that I don't know what I'm doing wrong here. Good. Yeah. We really liked the idea of member pricing, so what the likes of Tesco and Sainsbury's, etc., are doing with their loyalty schemes. And at the start, when we were sort of looking at whether we go down points, stamps, whatever, that member pricing was really quite appealing to us. So I think what they're doing is maybe, I know that there's questions with Tesco and other retailers around whether it's necessarily ethical because they're putting their prices up and then bringing them down, but I do think that that's very clever. And if you look at their adoption rates, they're pretty good, and tourists are coming over and signing up for loyalty just so they get those better prices. So it's something that I would like to see us do in the future, as an addition to the stamp card. Yeah.
I think I've got two that are worth watching, both very different brands because they are Yo Valley and Selfridges. But what I like about both of them is that I think they've done a really great job of creating a multi-channel version of loyalty. So Selfridges is a relatively new one. It's a few months old, and they've kind of created points, but for lots of different touch points. So if you go to their restaurants, if you go and get your hair done, then, you know, if you go to one of their events. So there are lots of different things that kind of add up together that gives them more data, obviously, but also then in theory gives you more access to greater things. So what they've really done well is created a very holistic rewards program. What Yo Valley has done really well is create lots of affiliate partnerships. So the type of people that eat their products might also decide they want to go on family holidays to such and such, and actually they've got solutions for that. So they've done really well at positioning themselves kind of in the middle of a universe that makes sense for their core customer demographic, and I think that's really impressive.
Amazing, thanks. This leads us into the next topic, which has 4 questions about it, which I'm going to summarise in. I'll read out the one that I like the phrasing of the best. Stamps versus points. Discuss.
Oh God, semantics. Stamps versus points. I think that wasn't the decision we had to make, though of course that was one of the decisions we had to make. The decision that I think that is at the heart of most loyalty programs is, do you want to reward frequency or do you want to reward spend? And for GAIL's, we are a premium bakery, and I think what we didn't want was people to always associate us with being expensive, and therefore creating something that was spend-based felt a bit exclusive, when actually what we value is people coming to us. So it doesn't matter if you come every day, it doesn't matter if you spend £1.50 on a Madeleine, you are as valuable to us as the next customer, and I think there's something very egalitarian at its heart. The stamps versus points thing was a huge internal debate for our creative studio, and it was strongly felt that resonating with our old school stamp card would be a positive.
Yeah, very, very similar to us. In terms of the discussion internally, it was, whilst we were sort of waiting for POS to go through stamps versus points, what is it? And it's like, how much time can we spend on discussing this? Because really it's how you present it to the customer. And we felt, Honest is maybe something from the data that we found out is people don't know how good our value is, and so we sort of the other way around, we didn't want to base it on spend, because you can come in and you can get a smash burger and chips for $9.95 at lunch, and we want to allow you to have a stamp versus coming in for the special and all the sides and extras. So we definitely felt like stamps was the way forward for us.
Amazing, thank you. I think we've got time for one more, so it's just choosing from the enormous list, which is most interesting. Conversion. Do you have people who build up stamps and don't spend them, don't redeem the rewards? How does redemption look? This is pretty early days for Gemma, so probably one for Rosie.
Not so much, to be honest. When people have rewards, they tend to go within a week. And obviously, with our most loyal customer base, you're talking about people who are coming 5 days a week anyway. So as soon as they've got a thing, they go for it. We then do things like birthday offers, which have mixed levels of redemption. It used to be far higher, and then we introduced a minimum spend, and surprisingly enough, it dropped. What a shock. So it is one of those things where we're just constantly testing new things to see what's going to be the thing that moves the dial. It's a lot of fun.
Amazing. I am going to have to hand over to Chris in a second, so it just remains for me to say thank you so very, very much for using your time to come here and impress us all with your expertise, your learnings, your successes. I'm so grateful for it. And thank you very much to the audience as well for your questions.